Many people are not aware SPCA Florida is a membership-driven organization to which the community at large is welcome to join. As in many cases, membership does have its privileges in many respects. All the details about their annual meeting and how you can become a member are coming up on Polk Place. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Lauren Lingill. Joined with me in studio, we have Adam Stanfield.
Hello.
And one of your board members are with us also, John Mahalio.
Yes.
Did I say that right, John?
You were close.
Oh, man. There are no furry creatures, but I feel like I'm in great company right now.
Let me just apologize for that. I know we've been busted, haven't we?
Yeah.
So
It's okay.
Our fault.
It's okay. Adam admitted to being a little furry himself, so we're good.
That's right. Oh, that was John. No.
Well, anyway, before we get started today, talking about membership, tell me a little bit about SPCA Florida.
SPCA Florida is the Polk County's largest private nonprofit animal welfare organization, and we have a full-service veterinary practice complete with surgical suite. And we have a high-volume adoption center that adopts out over 4,000 animals on an annual basis, which is great for our community because we've now determined that each animal that goes out our door represents $3,000 in economic impact throughout Polk County and beyond. So
Wow.
That's huge.
So you've got cats, dogs,
Cats
rabbits?
and dogs? No,
Just cats and
no,
dogs?
just what they call companion animals, small animal.
Okay.
Dogs and cats only.
All right,
Yeah.
well, I'm still looking for my forever friend. So.
Okay, well, we've got plenty. Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about your role, John.
I serve on the board. I started last summer, so this is my first year on the board. And what we do on the board is we review the budgets. We set the budgets for the year. We review spending, basic business operations more than anything else. We make sure that Adam's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Good job.
And, and we set policy for the organization.
Yeah.
So that we know that, and we review everything so that we know that we're going in the right direction.
And Julie Davis, who's our current president, has done a great job in terms of pushing the board to a governing board versus an operational board. Before I got at SPCA Florida, the organization had a lot of instability, a lot of ups and downs. And through her and Liz Petrowski's leadership, we've been able to put a lot of good structure in place at the board level as well as the operation. And people like John, who actually has welfare experience out in Oregon.
Yes, I was in 2 years. I was on the board of directors for SPCA, or I'm sorry, the Humane Society of Southern Oregon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the types of mindsets that we want to come into the board. We want people who have the experience or have the business mind, certainly have the compassion for the mission, but are able to bring that talent and thought process to the board to define the policy, to govern the growth and development of the organization, rather than placating to individual perceptions and things like that. So I think with John being on the board and some of the other ones that joined during his tenure, we've made leaps and bounds.
So as we found out earlier, SPCA Florida is a membership organization.
Yeah.
So tell me what that means and what that membership looks like.
Well, we are a membership. You can think of it kind of, for those out there in TV land that are stockholders. Stockholders get a voting right for the corporations. So we are not a for-profit corporation, but we are a nonprofit corporation driven by membership. Our stakeholders are people like John, who's a member. He's got to be a member to be a board member. And those individuals, come and support the organization financially. Matter of fact, historically, the membership drive has been viewed as a fundraiser rather than the actual membership structure that it is. And what we're here to do today, and John is here, is to illustrate that membership does have its privileges and that you as a member have a voting right for the governance of SPCA Florida going forward. So yes, it's a fundraiser, but again, that message hasn't been necessarily effectively communicated over the years, that you can vote on the slate of officers, you can vote on the actual board members.
So in essence, being a member, you're able to sort of direct that leadership on a board level, or direct that policy on a board level. And I was going to ask, what are some of the ways that, what are a couple examples of how that has sort of played out, that members have been able to, I guess, direct the decisions that the board's making?
Well, we've really just started promoting this concept about the true value of being a member. Last year at our first annual meeting, it was a first formal meeting. John and I was sharing some past experience on prior meetings where we really hadn't had any attendance. Last year we had about 40 people that attended. We had Congressman Dennis Ross, that was our annual speaker, or our inaugural speaker. Did a great job, talked about the economic impact study and things like that. And then we actually put the new board in front of the audience who were members and literally voted them in. So that was a great thing. Certainly if there's an objection to somebody, then a member should be able to speak up about that, or just not to cast a vote for that particular individual. So once that slate is in place, then these guys go to work through our committees, being able to craft out the policies in the direction of the organization. We have finance committee and executive committee,
Right.
Policy. So again, that's where a talent like John and others really can have an impact upon what we do.
So it kind of sounds a little bit like, I know publicly traded companies like Disney or whatever, I get a little letter in the mail every couple of months that says, hey, we're having a board meeting. You could come and tell me what you think. In some ways, what you all have going on is a little bit like that, in that memberships, speak to that a little bit.
Well, again, do you want to try that, or you want me to?
Well, I mean, I think what it comes down to is as a member of the organization, you have a right to speak your mind, and you have a right to say, I don't like this, or I do like this, or this person doesn't really, doesn't fit what I see the direction of the company's going, or the organization is going, not company. So they have the opportunity to speak out, just like you said at Disney, and complain. That's one person, obviously, but that one person usually, in a lot of cases, can drive the narrative a certain way.
And really has an opportunity to dictate that policy.
That's correct.
And to your point, where you get this thing in the mail, we do have outbound correspondence informing the membership of the annual meeting coming up, which is June 19th this year. We're going to do it on campus again. We'll have a tent. We have a guest speaker. I think Commissioner Dantzler is our speaker this year, so we're very excited about that. And so although we don't have a proxy, you're talking about a proxy statement where you might not attend the annual meeting, but you can vote, using this proxy form. We don't have that. We encourage the participation on campus, so people like myself and John can take tours or provide tours for the individuals, because many of the people out there in the community have a perception of what SPCA Florida is, and 9 times out of 10 that perception is completely different than what we have grown into.
So on a membership or board member level, how are SPCA and your board members who are business owners, or members who are business owners, have an opportunity to sort of like cross promote and like help one another?
And that's something that we added last year. Again, the membership drive was really just a fundraiser in years past, but we wanted to put more oomph into being a member. And what we did last year is we went to the community and said, as a member, as a sponsor, we are all about collaboration and positioning businesses in front of the audience that will allow them to grow and develop. So to make our membership more meaningful, we developed perk cards. For one, kind of like certain levels of participation, you get a benefit back, and it's cumulative. So if you give $25, you might get 1 card. If you give $100, you might get 3 cards, or whatever the gifts are. But we have two perk cards that one is local in nature and one is national in nature. And these are businesses like restaurants and things like that where you can go in and say, hey, I'm a member of SPCA Florida, and you get like a 10% discount, 20% discount, whatever that going discount may be that the organization has offered. So, that was very well received. I think we had about, 20 to 25 businesses that joined in last year, and based upon that success, I would anticipate more, even more participating this year.
That's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm jumping back over to kind of the structure. With your membership and your boards, are there different, maybe you're not a board member, but you still want to participate and help out the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Are there committees or things like that within those groups?
Yeah. You want to do it?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I could speak to the board.
Yeah,
As a board member, you serve on committees. As a board member, you provide financial support and you volunteer your time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just going to meetings. I mean, this weekend we have the animal walk, and we'll be there. All the board members will be participating in that, volunteering and walking.
Yeah.
With your publicity
also,
hounds, of course.
And we also raise money for the organization that way.
Mm-hmm. But the public, most of our committees are open committees. So if anybody out there wanted to, they could come in and join our policy committee. We have a couple people that are non-board members. They're longtime affiliated with the organization that are participatory in the committee, certain committees. We are all also contemplating development of an advisory board or advisory committee that the public may stay tuned to hear more about as well.
Cool.
That's kind of we're thinking that it would be more or less like a feeder mechanism to full board representation. So.
Now, those members and those board members who have a real heart for the organization and they want to do more than just be a member and be on a committee or be a board member, say they want to take it a step further and become advocates. Mm-hmm. With your recent economic study, and how can that help them to better advocate for the organization?
Well, I think just in general, at the board level, they are our foremost prime advocates. Those are the individuals that are out there championing SPCA Florida in the community. As a board member, righting the wrong perceptions that SPCA Florida may have carried years ago. Inviting people to campus, working collaboratively with staff to bring new people to campus so we can provide a tour. So, they're out there, they're vocal, they're champions. As John said, they raise money for us, corporate sponsorships and things like that. And our staff, our staff are advocates as well. When I first got here, we have shirts like I'm wearing now, and I told the staff, and it's no different than the board members, is like, look, I want you to be proud of working at SPCA Florida, and I want you out there talking about all the great things that we do and the lives that we save. So whenever anybody, is in Publix, maybe John's walking down the frozen food section in Publix, and you come up and say, hey, is that SPCA Florida? And he's like, yeah, and he's got all this wealth of information that he's going to provide to you. And then in the closing, he's going to say, why don't you come on down to campus and let me and Adam give you a tour.
And I would strongly recommend the public come in and get a tour. It's eye-opening because you don't realize, that was the first thing I did. I was invited out to campus to have a tour. Didn't know that I was going to join the board at that time, but after the tour, I realized all the amazing things that they were accomplishing out there, and I wanted to be part of it. So I would strongly suggest the public come out and take a tour. It's a great organization, and they're getting a lot of things done. And again, there are some misconceptions out there by the general public from the past that things have changed. And we're a better organization than we were.
We start off every tour, no matter how many people are there. I said, we're going to start here at our Memorial Garden, and we're going to end at that door right over there, and I guarantee you're going to come out and you're going to say, man, I had no idea. And invariably, that's what happens all the time. So it's just really, really an interesting organization. It's very complex. we're more like an emergency room on the human side from our medical center perspective, and then everything that takes place on the adoption center side. I mean, we care for more than 4,000 animals a year.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
The only other one like that's, Polk County, so.
So we've covered a lot
We have.
in a little period of time.
We're out of
Is there
time.
anything else that you can think of to add?
Well, I think the biggest thing is as John said, just come on down. Let me give you a tour. Let John, give you a tour. Anybody give you a tour. It really is a great organization. The impact that we have is something that we're taking to the street, specifically for the for-profit veterinary community. We can prove that 75% of our animals, 3,000 animals, end up in somebody else's office, and that allows them to grow and develop and just hire people. It's a beautiful thing when you think about it. So
Yeah.
that's it.
Well, I just got word that staff conducted an unofficial survey, and they say that people listen better when there's a puppy in my lap. So you're not to come back without a puppy
Man.
or a kitty.
Very true.
Well, thank you both for being here.
Not a
It's been a
problem.
pleasure.
Thank you for
talking
having
with
All
us.
right. Thank you.
SPCA Florida invites you to their annual meeting Monday, June 19th at SPCA Florida, located at 5850 Brandon Road South in Lakeland. There's no cost for the meeting, and you must RSVP by Wednesday, June 14th. You're invited to join SPCA Florida. As a member of SPCA Florida, your foremost benefit is having a voting right at the annual meeting. The right to vote gives you a voice to help determine the future impact, development, and growth of the organization. Through your vote, you can voice your pleasure or displeasure as to the organization's accomplishments, shortcomings, and complexion of those governing the organization's future direction. For more information about the meeting or about becoming a member, you can give them a call at 863-577-4605 or look them up on the web at spcaflorida.org.